Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to take what is probably the most common mental mistake in golf, that feeling of frustration when everything just goes sideways, and show you how to fight it with one single genius rule.
Yeah, our mission here is to give you a strategic shortcut. So even when your execution fails you, your decision-making won't.
We're diving into a scenario that is, it's universally humiliating.
Oh, absolutely. We've all been there.
You're putting for birdie, you run the ball way past the hole, off the green, and you just watch it roll straight into the worst place imaginable.
This deep dive is really about unlocking a specific strategic escape route that's right there in the rules of golf. It's the one thing that separates players who panic from those who actually choose control.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Picture the scene, right? You've hit this beautiful approach shot, you're maybe 15 feet away, and you're thinking birdie. It's a moment of pure potential.
All upside.
All upside. You tap it, it misses the cup, and you realize instantly. Just too much pace.
That sinking feeling.
And that ball just doesn't slow down. It looks like it has this gravitational pull toward disaster. It runs off the back of the green, down a tight, slick slope, and bam! You hear that thud as it settles deep into a greenside bunker.
And that descent from a hopeful two-putt par to, a triple bogey threat happens in what, like 3 seconds?
If that.
And we're not talking about some easy municipal course. Think about really uncompromising conditions, right? A place that's famous for tricky runoffs, firm greens, like what you find at Pinehurst, where the ball just repels everything.
Right.
You've gone from putting for a 2 to staring down the barrel of a potential 6 or even a 7. So what happens when that birdie putt suddenly becomes a threat to your entire round?
The psychological shift is just brutal.
Yeah.
You're already angry at yourself for missing the birdie putt.
Of course.
And now it feels like the golf gods have decided to punish you even more by throwing you into the sand. This is where most players react on pure emotion.
And that anger, it blinds us to the reality of the situation. It forces us to believe we can fix the mistake with some miracle shot.
Right, you're going to hold it from the bunker.
Exactly. Instead of realizing, okay, I have an opportunity here to manage the damage. That's the difference between feeling hopeless and having a clear strategic path forward.
So let's start with that immediate instinctual choice, which is usually the one that guarantees more trouble.
Attempting the high-risk bunker shot.
You just feel obligated. You pull out the sand wedge and you think, I have to play the ball as it lies.
And that instinct is driven by golf tradition, never give up on a shot. But in this specific situation, it is so high risk, it's almost irrational.
Why, though? It's a bunker shot. We practice those.
Think about the geometry of it. Because the ball trickled off the putting surface, the pin is likely right there, maybe, 15 or 20 feet from the bunker lip?
So you have zero runway.
Precisely. You're in a deep bunker, so you need a steep swing to get the ball up high, but you have basically no green to work with between the bunker and the hole.
You're asking for perfection.
You're asking for absolute world-class perfection under immense pressure, just moments after you failed on something much simpler pace control. It's a total psychological trap.
What's wild is just how risky this shot actually is. There are two main ways this goes wrong, and both are devastating.
Risk number 1, you catch it heavy, you leave a little too much sand behind the ball, the club slows down.
And it just pops up and rolls back down to your feet.
Yep. You're still in the sand, facing the exact same impossible shot, only now you're even more frustrated. That's at least 2 strokes just to get out of the sand.
And the second shot might be even harder if the ball plugged a little.
Exactly. Then there's risk number 2. You catch it thin.
The dreaded blade.
You blade it. That spike of adrenaline ensures the ball just screams across the putting surface off the far side, and now you're facing a downhill chip from the rough, backed toward that same slick green.
You're playing pinball. I've seen that happen 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
The consequence is massive. The potential for a double, a triple, or worse is so real.
That whole sequence, the thin shot, the heavy shot, that's how you lose complete control. That high-risk bumper shot is just rolling the dice on whether you make a 5 or an 8.
And you're just compounding the original mistake, the bad putt, with more bad decisions fueled by anger.
Exactly.
So if that instinctual high-risk play is a disaster waiting to happen, what does the rulebook actually offer us? There has to be some kind of out, a lifeline.
And this brings us to that aha moment. The strategic option that most golfers, even really experienced ones, they just overlook it in the heat of the moment.
Okay, so what is it?
It's declaring the ball unplayable under Rule 19.3b.
Wait, Rule 19, I thought that was for when you're under a tree root or a knee-high fescue. Why does 19.3b become the genius move here?
Because 19.3b has this very specific application that turns this nightmare into a strategic withdrawal. See, most players associate unplayable with deep rough or bushes, right?
Yeah, a truly unplayable lie.
But the ball is sitting perfectly fine in the sand. But the rules acknowledge the unique difficulty that happens when a ball played from the pure surface of a green ends up in the unforgiving environment of a bunker.
Okay, so let's get specific. What are the key conditions that have to be met for this nuclear option, as you call it?
The conditions are absolute. Number one, the previous stroke must have been played from the putting green. That is the critical part.
So if you chipped it from the fringe and it ran through, this wouldn't apply.
Nope. But since we putted it aggressively from the green, we're good.
Okay.
And the second condition, the ball must end up in a bunker. If it just trickled into the rough behind the bunker, you'd have different and probably less favorable options.
So because those two things are true.
You are legally entitled to declare the ball unplayable and take relief under this specific sub-rule.
Okay, that sounds like a lifesaver.
Yeah.
So what's the practical application? What do I actually get to do?
And this is the beauty of 19.3b. You get to take back complete control. The rule allows you to return to the spot of your previous stroke.
Wait, you mean
Yeah.
back on the green, where I putted from? You're
Yeah.
telling me I can literally rewind the catastrophe?
Exactly that. You pick up your ball in the bunker, you walk back onto the green, and you place the ball right back down where you hit that overly aggressive birdie putt from.
Wow.
You're basically using a penalty stroke to just completely negate the most dangerous physical consequence of your error.
But I know there's a catch. The biggest mental hurdle has to be paying that penalty stroke, right? I'm already mad about missing the putt, and now you want me to add a stroke just to go back? That feels so counterintuitive.
And that is the psychological friction point, and it's a necessary one. You can't just erase the stroke that put the ball in the bunker and rewind without paying a price.
So there's a mandatory one-strike penalty.
Mandatory. You're sacrificing the hope of a miracle, zero penalty, save for the certainty of minimizing the damage. It's an exercise in disciplined pragmatism.
Okay, so let's walk through this. We have the original putt, that's one stroke. We incur the penalty, that's a second stroke. And now we're putting again from the green. This is where we need to compare to the emotional choice.
This is where the wisdom comes in. Let's contrast them side by side. You've got choice A, the chaotic. Now you're lying 6. And you're probably shaken, so you take 2 putts to finally get it in the hole.
Final score, an 8, a quad bogey. That's a round killer.
Total disaster. That sequence is paralyzing.
Okay, now let's rewind and look at choice B, the calculated sacrifice using rule 19.3b.
Same situation. Stroke 3 is the missed putt that rolls into the bunker.
But this time, you stop. You take a breath, and you decide to declare it unplayable.
Right. You immediately accept the 1-stroke penalty, so you're now lying 4.
Lying 4.
But where are you?
You're back on the green, placing your ball at the original spot. Yeah. You are now putting again for your 5th stroke.
And this time you're not trying to make it, you're just trying to leg it close.
Exactly. You lag it up to tap-in range. So stroke 5 is that second putt. Simple tap-in.
Final score, 5. A bogey.
A disciplined bogey on the scorecard.
Oh.
The mathematical contrast is it's undeniable. In 8 versus a 5, you pay 1 penalty stroke, and in exchange, you eliminate the risk of 3 or 4 more mistakes. It's a high-percentage strategic play. And the immediate benefit is so clear. Instead of facing a desperate, score-killing bunker shot, you're just putting again.
You're in a familiar, comfortable position thinking about line and pace, not some impossible rescue.
So you're saying that sometimes taking a penalty and going back to where you started isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of wisdom.
It is absolutely a sign of wisdom and discipline. It's what separates the high-variance players from the high-percentage players. Golf is all about managing your mistakes, and this rule is the ultimate mistake management tool for this unique situation.
You sacrifice the tiny chance of a 0 penalty recovery for a guarantee that your worst outcome is a bogey.
Or maybe a manageable double. You turn a disaster into just an annoyance, and the mental strain is gone. The frustration from the bad putt is instantly replaced by a clear focus on a simple 2-putt.
You're protecting the scorecard.
Protection of the score is the ultimate goal of a strategic player. They understand that on the hardest holes, or after the worst breaks, the objective shifts from making birdie to avoiding a disaster. The rules give you that escape hatch.
So this whole deep dive, it really boils down to realizing the rulebook offers options beyond just playing the ball as it lies.
Especially when that lie is catastrophic and it came from a stroke on the green. The rule basically says, look, if you're willing to accept the punishment, we'll let you reset the environment. It's a mechanism for turning chaos back into order.
So what does this all mean for the listener? It means understanding that golf isn't just about flawless execution. It's about decision-making efficiency.
Right. Knowing Rule 19.3b allows a strategic player to turn a disastrous situation into a calculated, manageable penalty. You guarantee yourself a path to what we're calling the smartest bogey.
That's a great way to put it. The smartest bogey you'll ever make.
The shift in focus from trying to save par with a miracle shot to intentionally taking a penalty to stabilize your round. That's what defines high-level play. That bogey is smart because it avoided a potential triple through a calculated sacrifice.
It encourages you to think about what small sacrifice now prevents a massive hemorrhage later.
Exactly, and that's the thought to leave with. You have to consider the long game. What other penalty rules, which feel, punitive on the surface, can actually be used strategically to minimize damage? Look past the immediate frustration, accept the cost of the ticket, and buy back control of your round. That's the key.